settle into a comfortable seated posture. If your feet are on the ground, if you're not sitting in the cross-legged position, really try and get a sense of the sensations of the feet on the floor. Hang on, I'm still fiddling around here. Beg your pardon. All right. Well, just settle in. It's, I know for Shrey, for example, it's morning. And for Nim and Afisha, it's probably also morning. So, but just try and for you guys, for you morning people, just try and sort of settle in. This is as you prepare for your day. And for the rest of us who will be going to bed shortly, unless you're in Europe, but I think it's the middle of the night there. Anyway, this is really a great thing, a really wonderful practice to do before you go to sleep, before your head hits the pillow. It really doesn't matter which end of the day you're on, but just kind of just settle in. And I think actually for morning time, it's easier to kind of settle back into yourself than it is in the evening, because you're already still a little bit hyper from the day. The shoulders are aligned with the hips and the ears with the shoulders. And imagine your spine is this really beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just imagine you're lengthening your spine, putting some space in between the vertebrae. And then as you get to the crown of the head, just relax your scalp. Just release all the tension in the top of your head, down the back of your head. Relax the forehead and the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the jaw, the ears, the inner ear. The back of the head, your neck, and allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down and relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. Notice the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. And as we go through all these different stages of settling, just notice yourself just kind of going inwards and settling down. The whole nervous system settles down. The mind starts to calm. Also be aware of certain sensory distractions in your environment, such as sound. We're just allowing all the sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then just be aware of, the thoughts that are in your mind, what's traveling through your mind this evening. Put some space in between your thoughts. And then bring to mind these people of your life, your loved ones, dear friends. And maybe there's a few people in your life you find tad irritating. And then there's your strangers. You can think that they're all equal. They all want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. And they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think, of some people in our life who might need a little bit of kind of support. I'm not seeing Lou here this evening, so I'm hoping he's doing okay. He's okay? Shayla's shaking her head. All right. And just think, Lama Yeshe, I think this was so kind of, such a kind of a relief. I remember when I went to teach these prisoners once, the Vajrasattva meditation, many years ago. It must have been like, 2005, 2006? And the relief on their face when they realized there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this is directly from Lama Yeshe. It's like, oh, these Westerners need a little bit of help here. So he suggested that there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification practice is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind. So equally, we can change it and create positivity instead. So we start with this power of regret, and we sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then again, think, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we need Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So we're not looking for a higher power to come and just like do all this for us. We got to do the work ourselves. But we also see it, we're using the methods that we're being given here. We're using it like medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva is above the crown of your head. So if all of this details quite of a lot, this tanka. You can just imagine a ball of white light and maybe just the mind of your teacher. And this is for folks, or you can just feel the presence of this healing Buddha above the crown of your head. So it's just a kind of a sense of a person being there. And for other people who want to do the visualization, you imagine, Vajrasattva is made of this brilliant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, has this beautiful radiant face. He's looking at you and all the other sentient beings with just love and compassion and complete acceptance. Like however you're turning up this evening is completely fine this morning. And he has, he's got this black hair and it's held up in a top knot, and his arms are crossed at his heart. And the left hand is closest to the heart and the right hand is crossed over it. And the left hand's holding a bell, and this bell represents wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra and this represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us. And we just try and develop a wish for them to be free from suffering. So then we come to the power of remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samayam nupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida mebowa, sutukaya mebowa, sipokaya mebowa, anarakta mebowa, sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hom pe. Vajrasattva samayam nupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida mebowa, sutukaya mebowa, sipokaya mebowa, Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hom pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida mebowa sutukaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hom pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida mebowa sutukaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hom pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida mebowa sutukaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hom pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida mebowa sutukaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hom pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida mebowa sutukaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hom pe. And be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. Next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, sutokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mempiyatsa sawa kamasita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe, vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sabasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sabazidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva Dina patita drita meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drita meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe. So again, feel really happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others with your speech, not to harm. And next is the purification of our mind. And we imagine that Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light, laser light from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's the same as when you walk into a room that's pitch black and you flick on a light switch. And the light comes immediately, and that just, it's kind of instant. Flick on the switch, light comes. So same thing here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment, neediness, bitterness, grudges, anger, jealousy, all of this kind of delusions, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa, sutokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dina patita, Jita meboa, sutokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta me boa sawasidi mempi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends a light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. So you imagine the nectar flows down. It's just pushing out all the negativity of the body from the lower orifices. And then the nectar flows up, pushing out all the negativity of your speech from the upper orifices. And then all of the light comes and blasts all of the delusions. So this way, even, the subtlest imprints of negative energy are completely eradicated from your mental consciousness. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Jida mebowa, sitokaya mebowa, sipokaya mebowa, anorakta mebowa, sabasidi mempiyata sawakama sitame, sitam triyam kuru hom ha 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 bhagawan, sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe. So now feel completely purified and imagine there's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. So even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process, and it's a really crucial one. And this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. So you might want to think the wish would be ever again, but it's probably not realistic. So think of something realistic. Don't lie to yourself about what you think you might be able to do. So you're kind of almost making a kind of a vow to yourself to maybe work on something simply. So rejoice in your efforts for coming along. And imagine Vajrasattva's delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate a little bit on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty, think that they don't exist from their own side. And so another way of looking at this would be to just question every time you look at something and think, well, it probably doesn't exist actually the way I think it does. So we dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do our chanting the names of Manjushri. Arisen from non-being, homage to you. Homage to you, arisen from the Buddhas. Arisen from the sky, homage to you. Homage to you, born of pristine wisdom. O net of illusion, homage to you. Homage to you, the Buddha's spectacle. Homage to you, the everything of all. O body of wisdom, homage to you. Woo. Om Sava, Dhammabhava, Sabhava, Vishuddha, Vajra, A. Prakriti, Parishuddha, Savadama, Yad Uta, Sava Tatagata, Jana Kaya Manjushri, Parishuddhitam, Upadayati, Sava Tatagata, Sridayam, Hara Hara, Om Hum Sri Bhagavan, Jana Murte Vagishvara, Mahavacha, Savadama, Gaganamala, Suparashida, Dhammadhatu, Jana Garba. Then Vajradhara, ever glorious, most pleased and satisfied, with folded palms, prostrated to the Buddha, noble God, the Blessed One, the Lord Tathagata. Okay. All right, everybody. Let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for Lama Zopa Rinpoche to appear very soon, and for all of your own individual teachers. Okay, lots of love, everybody. Thank you, Shayla, for hosting. Thank you, everybody, for coming along near and far, and lots of love. Sleep well, and I'll see you tomorrow evening. Okay, thanks, everyone. Bye.